auditorium, there was somebody shouting, look, you're national, you're social, you're a national socialist. Okay? Okay, you can say this is a stupid guy. It was a stupid guy. But the problem is not this guy. The problem is that there's a whole milieu thinking this, maybe not in this extreme form, but I think the message of Costas, no, that this attack on us, that we are nationalists, or the fear from nationalism, is something which is deeply penetrated and is a big political power which keeps this narrative of the European Union together. Peace project, for example. No? We know this, we try to dismantle this, but we should tackle this, but we need also to develop a plan, discuss, explain, and understand that this is a difficult enemy we find here. So this is why I call once again, we should search for dialogue, unity, and bring those forces together and see how we can resolve these different opinions in a middle range term, and now together all against the Euro regime. Thanks. So space is open for discussions, interventions, questions. So very short, because now many people, 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Much less. I would just like to ask, what would be the follow-up of this meeting? I think it's very important that we make a sort of a follow-up to what we do after here, to people that are here. Maybe we can create some kind of a coordinating instrument that will we will start implementing what the declaration that will be adopted today, I think, and also the discussions that we had. There are some follow-up that has to be done to this. This is my question. I don't want to make any statement.
Mimo?
Ma mi è stata data l'occasione di parlare 2 volte dal palco in questo convegno, quindi la faccio breve e faccio solo una proposta per quello che riguarda la situazione italiana, i nostri compiti immediati, ma credo che possa valere anche per altri. Allora, io credo che noi, ce lo siamo detti, lo abbiamo detto, credo non possiamo crescere, fare un salto qualitativo in assenza di un ulteriore shock esterno. Credo che se non precipita in qualche modo la crisi dell'Unione Europea, difficilmente noi usciremo dal circolo ristretto in cui siamo.
I don't believe that we can make a qualitative step
As
Italians a qualitative step without a strong external shock.
Nell'attesa però possiamo fare una cosa molto semplice, siccome siamo italiani ovviamente citiamo Gramsci,
But we as Italians quote Gramsci,
il quale diceva che quando una forza politica democratica è piccola e ha scarsi legami con le masse, deve almeno avere un chiaro programma teorico e politico.
if a popular force is small and has no strong links to the popular masses, at least it needs a clear political program.
Allora io propongo una cosa di cui ho in parte discusso con Carlo Formenti, ma ovviamente me ne assumo tutta la responsabilità di questa proposta, che non usciamo, almeno come italiani, da questo incontro con la solita frase teniamoci in contatto, o meglio costruiamo una rete, perché in rete ci siamo sempre, ma la rete non significa nulla, è una forma di non comunicazione. No?
We should not stop by saying we keep in contact by building a network, because we are always in a network and it means nothing.
Allora, la mia idea è questa: cerchiamo di costruire una piccola istituzione, un gruppo di lavoro che abbia come problema quello della scrittura di un programma politico.
So let us build a small working group with the task to write a proposal for a program.
Con una precisazione, anzi due. Sicuramente la scrittura di un programma politico è un problema di aggregazione di intellettuali che sappiano.
Yeah. First of all, it's a question also of bringing together, collecting intellectuals.
Che sappiano proporre idee sulle tre questioni generali del nostro paese, e non solo del nostro, che sono il livello geopolitico, quindi la pace, il livello economico, quindi il lavoro, il livello democratico, quindi l'organizzazione dello Stato.
So, and this must touch 3 points: is the question of peace, the question of work, and the question of democracy.
The question of democracy, which is a problem of state organization, è un problema di organizzazione dello Stato, perché troppo spesso noi pensiamo che basti emanare una legge diversa da quella che emanano i nostri avversari che le cose cambiano, ma nel frattempo l'apparato di Stato italiano è completamente cambiato, non è più in grado di portare avanti politiche democratiche, quindi abbiamo bisogno di un programma anche a livello dell'organizzazione dello Stato.
And we need also a program on the level of state organization, because the Italian state has transformed in that radical way that it's totally shielded from any democratic
Okay. Ma la costruzione di un programma politico è anche la costruzione di legami politici con esponenti di tutte le classi e di tutte le esperienze sociali e istituzionali. Noi dobbiamo avere rapporti col mondo della finanza, col mondo della banca, col mondo dell'amministrazione pubblica, col Ministero degli Esteri. Dobbiamo trovare insiders in ciascuno di questi posti, perché altrimenti le nostre conoscenze teoriche non possono riuscire a risolvere nulla.
Going down this road, we need also to build contacts to the whole range of institutions, from financial to political to juridical to all fields. We need the insiders.
E tutto questo oltre a ovviamente rapporti stretti con i movimenti conflittuali, ma questo lo sappiamo, è la nostra vecchia abitudine, questo lo sappiamo fare, è il resto che non sappiamo fare. Grazie.
And obviously we need also the contacts to the movement of social conflicts, but this is what we do know how to do. Boris Lechtaler from Austria, Linz.
Thank you, Willy. My name is Boris Lechtaler. I'm from Austria. I take part in the Personenkomitee für Euro-Exit gegen Sozialabbau, and I'm active in the Solidarwerkstatt. It is an initiative which fights for a republic of solidarity against this regime of competition in the European Union. For me, this coordination here in Italy was very important and inspirative, but in a special sense inspirative, because my opinion that the most important field of social struggle is on the national level was underwritten through this forum. In many actual fights we are confronted, even in one time that the struggle should be on a sub-national level, and often the political establishment confronts us with the word that the struggle can only be on a supranational, on a European level. We find this in social and economic issues, but also, for example, in the issue of the crisis with the refugees. I think it is our specific challenge to force the social struggle on a national level. And in this sense, when you take a view on Austrian affairs, I don't know if it is important for you to take a view on Austrian affairs, but if you take this view, don't take this view in the same sense and in the same force when you look at German affairs. In this sense, I was a little bit astonished that in the program for this coordination, I found my friend Albert and my friend Willy as protagonisti tedeschi and not protagonisti austriaca. I think it is our specific challenge to fight for an Austrian way to, and an Austrian consciousness of a specific Austrian way out of Euro and European Union. This is not an expression of unsolidarity, for example, with our German comrades, or unsolidarity with our European comrades, but it is the conviction that this fight for a specific Austrian way out of Euro and EU is the best contribution to solidarity in Europe.
Okay, so, well, 3, 4 very, very quick points. One, however discouraged we might feel by the tragic situation of the left in most European countries, at the same time we must realize that facing a Europe in its deepest, a European Union in its deepest crisis since the 1960s, a crisis we cannot, if we use the metaphor, say it's a hegemonic crisis of European integration with the exit of Britain, and the open crisis of legitimization of integration inside of most European countries. This is the moment for us. This is our moment, because what we say, the fact that we are the only current inside the political spectrum that insists on a radical, progressive, democratic process of rupture with the European Union, and we are the only current that presents popular sovereignty not as a return to national isolation, but as a progressive and emancipatory project, inclusive, an answer to both cosmopolitanism and racism, both to globalization and antagonism. This is our moment. We have to put this in our minds and work to this direction. 3, we must bring forces together at the national and international level. And here we must be very clear. We need an open process. We need a process that is open-hearted to all the progressive, radical voices, or even people who become radical and progressive. Now, there is a discussion whether it is this left or right. I will say that it is left in essence, progressive, coming from the socialist, workers' movement, communist tradition. This is its essence, transformed, facing the new challenges, although it's not necessary to be an attempt to reclaim the legacy of the left. No, the legacy of the Euro left, the legacy of the left that arrived in power, such as in Greece with Tsipras and Syriza, and betrayed the aspiration and the struggle of an entire group. No, this is not our legacy. But the ideas of the left, the ideas of the communists and socialists and all the other progressive traditions of the working class, this is our ideas. This is why we struggle against the European Union. 4th, if we want to struggle against the European Union, this is also a challenge for all of us to recompose strategy. Because it's obvious that it's not just a technical, it's not a monetary issue. A credible, sound, as Kostas just said, strategy requires for us to go beyond slogans, to go beyond easy catchphrases, to go beyond easily the things that we can write in a leaflet, and try really to do scientific work, try to elaborate alternatives, not in the sense of cerebral constructions, but in the sense of using the experience of people in struggle, movements. We have to offer very concrete alternatives, because if you attempt rupture, there is not like first it is monetary rupture, then there is growth, and then you think about social transformation. Social transformation as immediate answer to very practical things, such as what you do with production, economy, what you do with the state, how to handle, how we deal with all the destructive effects of European integration, how it has disintegrated the productive basis of countries such as this. You will have to answer these things in a radical, new, original direction from day one. So we must work hard, but also think more. So to this end, I think that we must try and use every possible venue, every possible opportunity to have this dialogue. And to this end, I'm here also, since I am a member of the Secretariat of Popular Unity, to say that Popular Unity in Greece is dedicated, both in Greece but also internationally, to the idea of the united front of the radical anti-austerity, anti-Euro, anti-EU forces. We try to do this in Greece. Perhaps there are people who have made mistakes. We also are self-critical. We are also part of the problems of the Greek left, but we will try to the direction of the front. We must also try to build it at the international level. We must create the united front of our period, of our epoch. So to this end, Popular Unity will also try to take an initiative, or not say initiative in the sense of ownership of initiative, I say in a practical reason, to organize also in the next year, in the next months that come, a big conference, a big meeting in Athens, trying to invite all radical, progressive, democratic, left, anti-EU, anti-Euro forces in Europe. And we also use the fact that we have a member of European Parliament, Comrade Nikos Koudis, also trying to use this as an opportunity to bring together forces, and we are very interested to have a pan-European dialogue and common action against the Europeans, because I will end as I started. However difficult things are, however, to change the phrase of Romain Rolland that Gramsci liked, that is, yes, our will might be pessimist because of all the disasters we have suffered, but if we try to analyze, objective situation, balance of forces, our intellect must be optimist. Yes, it is the time in reality of the peoples as the only answer to the deep crisis, both of capitalism, of globalization, and of European integration.
Non si sa. Forse mancano le video.
Ok, ci sono due livelli, no? C'è un livello internazionale e c'è un livello nazionale. Penso che sarà difficile uscire da questo forum con una dichiarazione comune internazionale, perché proprio non c'è più tempo. Occorrerebbe più tempo con una riunione più ristretta, perché in 100 non si conviene niente. Penso che ci sarà bisogno, io farò una proposta di un incontro internazionale di delegati dei diversi movimenti da svolgere entro il mese di ottobre.
There are national levels and there's an international level, and now we are not able to come out with a resolution which finds consensus. In order to do so, it's necessary to have an international meeting with delegates. Delegates who come together, who work seriously to find and develop a proposal, and this should take place until the end of the month of October.
Quindi molto concretamente significa che dobbiamo metterci d'accordo per sapere il giorno in cui ci riuniamo, Barcellona, non so, Atene o Parigi o Roma, quello che volete voi. Dobbiamo uscire da qui con questo accordo, ok? Soprattutto quelli del coordinamento, per una riunione del coordinamento che sia aperta a coloro che sono qui e che magari non facciano parte del coordinamento o non necessariamente devono farne parte.
Yeah, and we have to fix today a date of this meeting and the place of this meeting, which is open and invites forces which are here, invites forces with whom we are in dialogue and who are outside or have sent not delegates but participants. So this is to be fixed now.
Se non vado errato c'è domenica 29, qualcuno può portare il calendario? Domenica 29 ottobre.
Sunday 29th of October.
Moreno, la Cassazione spagnola dice che a ottobre sono tutti pieni, come si dice?
Ottobre è completo, è impossibile.
Allora,
Io dicevo la prima settimana di novembre.
Noi abbiamo il referendum.
no, il referendum ok. Sì. Il problema è la riunione di Copenaghen. Quando c'è la riunione di Copenaghen? A Calais.
A novembre abbiamo la possibilità di avere un locale a 40 km di aeroporto.
È il primo sabato di novembre. 5. Va bene, ok, vedete? Va. Io propongo, ragioniamo su questa data, soprattutto i rappresentanti delle organizzazioni politiche, sabato 5 novembre.
So the proposal is
Penso
Saturday 5th of November.
Penso che potremo svolgerla a Barcellona, ok?
Possibly in Barcelona.
Ok.
No, i francesi stanno dicendo di no.
Ragazzi, allora non è che possiamo discutere della data adesso. A pranzo, dopo, oggi, pomeriggio c'è una riunione, ho fatto una proposta, sabato 5 novembre.
Yeah, so not discussing this now. After with lunch we can discuss this and find a date.
Ognuno se non c'è questa riunione, il rischio è che noi usciamo da qui senza nemmeno un appuntamento per dare un orientamento generale.
So if we come out of this meeting without such an appointment, we risk to have nothing, to hold nothing in hand.
Io mi pare che debbo raccogliere una cosa che è positiva che viene fuori, la volontà di restare uniti. Per restare uniti non basta appunto il voler essere o il dover essere, bisogna mettersi d'accordo concretamente sulle date in modo che inchiodi le persone a non prendere impegni, se no è tutto difficile.
So what comes out of this meeting, and which is very positive, is the will to stay together, to find unity, to develop unity, and we have to fix this
il secondo livello, quello nazionale, probabilmente bisogna, io ho capito lo spirito della proposta di Mimmo Porcaro, ne parlavo anche con Carlo Formenti, cioè per noi italiani, noi siamo tra gli organizzatori come il programma 101, siamo in un processo costituente, siamo ben piccola cosa, però appunto dobbiamo vedere come unire le forze, che poi è uno slogan un po' semplicistico, come aumentare la nostra capacità di azione politica, di analisi. Quindi accogliamo la proposta di Mimmo Porcaro di trovare una forma per strutturarci in modo unitario, qui in Italia.
The same thing holds for the national Italian level, and there have been many interventions in this spirit, so we take up this spirit and we go forward to find some unity, but it's too simple, the unity, it must be more than unity.
Adesso una domanda che faccio a Costas Lavapizzas, che è una domanda e è una posizione politica. Costas ha detto una cosa che secondo me è centrale per capire come noi dobbiamo agire. Costas ha detto, quando noi parliamo fuori dall'euro e soprattutto fuori dall'Unione, scatta, se ho capito bene Costas, tra la gente con cui parli il meccanismo della paura della rinascita dei nazionalismi, quindi prima e seconda guerra mondiale.
So it's a question to Kostas Lapavitsas, who said that if we develop our program, then there's the mechanism of fear that the renationalization.
La rinascita dei nazionali.
Sì, lo so che cosa sto dicendo. The renationalization produces also the danger of nationalism.
Io penso che questa analisi è sbagliata. La cosa fondamentale che spaventa la gente non è il nazionalismo. La cosa fondamentale, il ricatto della paura, è che se si esce dall'euro c'è il disastro economico, saremo tutti più poveri, si mangiano i nostri risparmi, avremo salari più bassi, non avremo più diritti. Cioè la gente ha paura dell'uscita per le sue condizioni di vita, non è tanto il fantasma dei nazionalismi. Se invece parliamo di quelli che noi chiamiamo non i sinistri o i sinistrati, e allora sì, il ceto medio di sinistra, no? Ha in realtà paura ideologica del ritorno indietro alla nazione. Ma però, cioè, noi a chi parliamo? Parliamo ai sinistrati o parliamo ai milioni delle masse popolari, no, con cui dobbiamo interloquire? Quindi, perché se la paura è anzitutto il nazionalismo, allora andiamo in una direzione e decliniamo il nostro messaggio in un senso. Se invece la paura reale della gente lavoratrice è che andiamo verso un disastro peggiore, allora la nostra risposta e anche il nostro linguaggio e la nostra narrazione è diversa.
The question is because I do not agree to the way Kostas framed the question, because I do not believe that the popular masses fear nationalism. What they really fear is with the breakup of the euro and the European Union, a social disaster. This is their main fear. But if we speak of the left, or special expression, the bad left, then Costas is right. But the question is, to whom we direct our message? To this bad left or to the popular masses? So there's Rainer.
I have no. I'll speak up. I have no grand suggestions. Just a little one, which may make the work of all of us a little bit easier. We met a lot of interesting people. We will continue to work on that. Wouldn't it be good if we had a collection of the names and the email addresses? For instance, in this case, we could send them around. It would also, for instance, our Spanish colleague and friend Ramon made a very interesting little suggestion which could have a great effect in the media. For instance, when Spain, in its current situation, is presented with a fine of 200 million by the EU, demonstrations in front of the EU embassies, if one could coordinate something like that, it would be nice. And when out of this could other ideas develop, which we could do together, not necessarily in every country, but people where it can be done, it could be done. But if we don't have a way to communicate, nothing will happen.
As organizing committee, we will take up this proposal and we will find a way to do so. Alex Muth.
Don't forget the NATO question. I think if we add the NATO question to the EU question, it would be... What?
As comrade,
lo devi accendere.
1, 2, 3.
Right, yeah. As Comrade Lachiotti said, the NATO question is very important. It has been very important for the Greeks. And it has been the Gladio, and the NATO question has been very important for the Italians. And if we add the NATO question to the EU question, it would be easier for us. EU, they say EU is nationalization. We have, but stepping out of NATO is a very, everybody can understand that. We have to add the stepping out of NATO with the stepping out of the PFP plus. That means Partnership for Peace, because Austria and Ukraine are part of the PFP plus, which is an organization of NATO. So we have to fight against NATO, and we have to fight against those organizations who are very close to NATO. And this is now a kind of, very difficult problem, because there are many organizations, anti-imperialist communist organizations, like in Hungary, who are against NATO but don't deal with the EU question. It's not important for them. The Euro question is not important for them. The Hungarians. There are 5 anti-NATO organizations in Hungary. There is a lot of anti-NATO organizations in Russia, and they don't deal. The EU problem is not the most important. So if we combine the NATO question with this, must be in the text, in the context, in the center of our question. If we have new organizations, if we have new meetings on European level, we have to invite those comrades from Russia and Hungary who are not against so much dealing with the EU, but who have in their program the anti-NATO question. We know what CIA and Gladio was in Italy and in Greece, and in Italy the fascist organizations have been compared with the Gladio question. Of course, the Italians always know what Gladio is, and they often associate any fascist organization, fascist attack with Gladio. So let's forget this. We must be anti-EU and NATO and anti-PF3+. Thank you.
Inge Höger.
Ja, wir planen in Deutschland von der antikapitalistischen Linken in Düsseldorf im Januar, wahrscheinlich am 21. oder 28. eine Konferenz über die Alternativen zum Euro und zur EU. Wir wollen gerade in der deutschen Linken die Diskussion voranbringen, weil es da eben sehr viele Illusionen gibt über die Linke, und wir würden uns sehr freuen, ja, einige von den hervorragenden Referentinnen von hier, ich werde noch mal einige ansprechen, da zu haben, oder auch, wer Zeit hat, nach Deutschland zu kommen, nach Düsseldorf, die Einladung über entsprechende Verteiler schicken, und wir denken, das ist wichtig, gerade auch in Deutschland diese Diskussion weiterzuführen.
There will be, from the anti-capitalist left in Germany, which is a part of Die Linke, a conference in Düsseldorf, which will take place on the 21st or on the 28th of January, on the topic of alternatives to the euro. And I want to invite you, all of you as participants, and some also of you, of these wonderful speakers, to come there and to explain also to the German public what it is all about. Thanks. Are there further interventions?